Hey guys, what's up? It's Culprit here, and as I come back from my little BF3 vacation, I wanted to talk to you about what I decided to work on. I decided to work on my accuracy, generally with my gun skills. A lot of the guns and attachments are changing, so I wanted to work on my core accuracy. So I want to make a quick little video to show you the impact I can have. You're going to see right here, this is full auto, no correction, no aiming on my part, it's just letting it ride. You can see the spread and how it really is pretty ineffective. Here I'm going to go full auto, and I'm going to try to keep it on target right there, right at the middle of the cracks. You can see kind of the bullet spread on that. And the last one is going to be me showing you that if the gun is fired properly with a little burst fire, the difference in the grouping of the bullets. Now this is kind of medium, short range. And even here you can see a pretty huge difference. So if you can control your weapon and you can get it, get it on target, you can see the difference. I mean, that guy on the right's going down, no question. The guy in the middle, maybe, but you can see it gets much better. This is a little bit from medium to long range. Again, same thing, full auto with me correcting it, trying to hold it on target. And then the second one will be burst fire on target. And again, you'll see much different grouping, much more accurate, much more effective. So even if you're shooting at a smaller target, like a guy crouched behind a wall, you're going to have a much better chance. You got another demo on the left there that I did too, to show you. So now I'm going to segue over to my rush video. As I'm coming back from my week-long vacation from Battlefield, like I said, a lot of the guns, a lot of the attachments are going to be changing. So I didn't want to really work on one gun and one attachment, despite the fact I did finally unlock the M16A3, which is my favorite gun right now. So I can use it on both sides. I decided to hold off and really try to just get my gun skills better, my core gun skills, and my accuracy. This comes from watching a couple other videos that a guy's mentioned this, so I figured I would kind of bring it over here and give you guys also a little demonstration. So with that said, what I tried to do is I actually forced myself to use a burst fire gun. I started using the M16A4, but then I decided I wanted to do the KH-2002 because I have used it in the past, and I actually did like it. Meant I had to go in and do a little public matchmaking of co-op, which was a nightmare, oh my goodness. But I got a couple rounds in, and I unlocked the KH-2002, and so you'll see me using that here, even though I'm in the Amtrak right now. It's completely stock, no sight, no foregrip, nothing. But it's a strong gun. It's a really good gun. It's very accurate from mid to long range, and actually up close, it'll shoot as fast as you can pull the trigger. So I figured it would be a good way to get me into the trick of burst firing. Because I do get a little crazy and willy-nilly with the automatic fire, and it gets me in trouble. Definitely does. And my accuracy, if you look at my battle log, is really not that good. So it's probably the weakest part of my game, like I've said, my gun skills. But right here, I mean, that's quick shooting right there. That's as fast as you can pull the trigger. And the irony here is that I said I picked this gun to play a medium long range engagement type game, and I spent easily half the game in an Amtrak, and then the other, probably at least another third, in here doing close quarters and that type of stuff, arming MCOMs and whatnot. But that's kind of the thing with Rush. You gotta kind of be ready to adapt. You can't really play one style, whereas TDM you can say, all right, I'm gonna rush, or I'm gonna hold a rooftop or something like that, or same with domination, like I showed you. I'm gonna hold the B flag. I'm gonna do this. Rush, you really gotta take what's given to you. You gotta use the tools that you're given, and that's why you'll see me jumping in the Amtrak here. In Rush, I feel that the Amtrak is probably the most important chess piece that you're given. A lot of people don't use it properly. They think, oh, well, this thing's got treads. It must be a tank. It's not true. It takes a lot of damage, but it's really slow. So it's hard to get in and out of engagements. So you really have to try to engage people on your terms and use kind of the contour of the land as a defense. But that weapon on top there, I mean, it'll chew up infantry, and it will actually really pack a punch against armor. So it's really versatile in that regards. I mean, it has a smaller clip, which can be a pain in the butt. But probably the biggest thing about an Amtrak is it's a mobile spawn point. When one of your teammates are in the LAV or the tank, sure, if you're in his squad, you can spawn on it and jump out and run and go about your way. But with the Amtrak, it is literally anybody on your team can spawn on it, which makes it a really great tool if used correctly. It should really be pushed up, but not too far, not overexposed. And I like to keep it just behind our front line, and this way it can offer really good suppressing fire, good support, but all the while, you'll watch later, you'll see guys spawning in and they jump out, spawn in, jump out, spawn in, jump out, and they're right back in the fight. And I know when someone else is doing that, I love it, because it means I can really attack aggressively. I can really go crazy, because I don't really have to worry about if my squad's wiped or anything like that, because I know I have the Amtrak about 100 yards behind me, and I can just spawn in on it and be right back in the fight. And it really keeps a lot of pressure on the other team. And when you're attacking on rush, that's what it's all about, is keeping the defenders from setting up. You know, you got to keep that pressure on them really hard, because if they get set up, it can be really tough. And especially on maps like this, like Wake Island, where your armor is so valuable because there's such long sight lines. I typically don't like this map, especially on rush, just because the sight lines are so long. You're just there. You have no choice but being exposed, and that's why you see me here going really slow. I'm really taking it slow because I don't have the best up close weapons, so I'm trying to stay back and pick people off and almost anti-snipe a little. Because you find yourself in a lot of fights like these and these rocks, and it's just really hard because you're at a disadvantage because you have to go to low ground, and they've of course got probably 45 snipers on every hill, and you know it can be tough. So you really need that armor to come up and really punch them in the mouth so that your infantry can run around and really push up and get established. And you'll see me once again. I think I'm on foot here. I don't do too well at all, to be honest. I fail here. A guy shoots me from the right, and for some reason I look left. So just an awareness fail. And then you'll see me pretty much quickly get right back into the Amtrak because nobody else is in it. You cannot leave the Amtrak sitting in your base, guys. If it's up and it's available, it's got to be up there. It's got to be up towards the front line. But I'm saying, and not the tip of the spear, but you know, just set back behind, because it can take a nice beating. But at the same time, if you're up front, obviously people know to look at it, and they'll be, you know, your guys spawning off of it will get chewed up. And with the lob on that gun, you can shoot from good distance away. It's kind of tricky because it can be hard to see where your rounds are landing. But you just got to pick your spots, and you'll see me do that here, where towards the end I'll take it and I'll really stick its nose right up in the fight. But that's only when, you know, we feel like we have to. You gotta, you know, see, here we go again. I jumped in. Nobody was in it. It was just sitting there. It's useless just sitting there. And you can see our guys were getting chewed up by snipers and whatnot. You can't snipe this thing, so it's really good to get it up there. And here you go. You see you'll see me a couple of engineers just sitting here that can patrol on the road. You know, the chopper gets them obviously, but I would have gotten them next round. So you got to get it in the fight. And too often do I see it sitting at spawn. We basically, I had a good team here. We overran these guys. It was really quick, 14-minute rush round or 13-minute rush round or something like that. So it was pretty nice to play on a team like that, because too often you don't. I find that rush is really the hardest one of all the games to play solo. Here's what I'm talking about. I'm kind of keeping the Amtrak just back a little bit. I'm trying to offer some suppressing fire to this tank. Now the guy jumps in and pushes me up. Don't do this. If I'm the tanker, I'd be so mad. He pushes right up behind the tank. You know, the tank is obviously engaged with that other armor up there, and he's trying to use this mountain as a little bit, or this little hill as a little bit of cover for himself to pull up, engage, back off, reload. You know, that's how you fight in a tank. And this guy pulls the Amtrak right up behind him and almost gets him killed. But luckily, we have some pretty good NGs that keep him alive. So here I'm trying to offer a spawn spot for my team. You know, like I said, I'm just behind the front line. I'm actually probably a little too close, and I'm just trying to get some rounds on that hill up there, keep them suppressed. It's because of all the smoke and everything, it's really hard to see if my rounds are being effective. I can't even tell now if I'm going over or if I'm hitting. I'm just trying to, you know, so he can repair up, because you got to keep your armor alive, especially on this last base. You really have to have some armor with you, so you gotta keep him alive. So here you go. You see this guy now jumps in, pushes me up, which this is probably a good move right now, because we do have infantry up here, so it's not a bad one. I would have rather seen the tank push up, but he was engaged. Now, this guy actually puts me in a really good spot, because you see this little depression with the land and the building. I can't really be taken on by, you know, infantry-held anti-tank missiles, because they just don't get a sight line on me. Look at it. See, it shoots that anti-aircraft gun right up, gets a couple rounds on the tank, and then I'm able to just really turn my attention on the infantry. And because this MCOM's in this little box, I can just shoot in there with the exploding rounds. See, I don't know how they get this. I don't know how that guy lived, because they should be exploding rounds. Unfortunately, with these little containers, you can't really blow them up. But I mean, with this thing, I should be able to just shoot. I should be able to shoot in there to just explode the whole box. But right where this thing's positioned, if you look at the icon for the Amtrak, you'll see guys spawning in, jumping out, spawning in, jumping out, spawning in, jumping out, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Keeps them right on the fight, right on the MCOM, and it obviously works out just fine. So now I'm able to turn my attention to just suppressing guys, because they're spawning back there now because we've cleared them out. And now we got one MCOM left to go. But this is a pretty tricky one, because they basically are all going to spawn in there, and they're all going to go in that So if you don't have the support of armor, it's really tricky to get in there. Because even air cover can't do too much against it. Yeah, obviously they can shoot rockets through the two ends, but a good team dug in there can really put up a nasty fight, you know, Alamo style. So this guy actually does a good job of getting me up there. And like I said, this is one of those opportunities where you really, it's a good idea to put myself right up in the fight. What I would normally do is, a lot of times you'll see me, I'll be the gunner, and then I'll switch to the driver's seat and move myself where I want, switch to the gunner seat. This guy did a good job of helping me out. He had a good idea of what he wanted to do. And I look at all the guys in this building on the mini-map. This place is, they're camped in here. We actually have guys on the MCOM, which is great. Like I said, this was a pretty good team. One thing I need to do is I need to conserve my ammo a little more. It's really easy to burn this whole clip out. And that can be frustrating because it's like a 3 or 4 second delay to reload. But I mean, you can see this thing just chews people up, and you don't have to hit them. That's a mistake a lot of people made. You're almost better shooting at their feet so that the rounds hit the ground. So even if you miss the guy, it'll hit the ground, explode, and you still get the effect of, you know, the kill. So there you go. It's a nice little quick rush round. Like I said, I'm trying to change my focus a little bit to rush because I feel like to make better videos, there's a little more tactical to it. But I am overall working on my accuracy. So I hope you appreciate the little video. Hopefully in the next couple I'll have will be me actually working on my gun skills and not just being a tank jockey. But I thought it was a fun little different video than from what I brought to you. So I appreciate you listening, guys, and I hope you have a good day. Take care.